Welcome to my views and news. Sunday's first video. Firstly, last night, Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, issued a statement raising some questions about the peace agreement signed more than 10 days ago in Pretoria, South Africa. Why is the TPLF raising these questions? What does TPLF mean by saying that it did not nominate a committee for negotiations in South Africa? Secondly, Oromo Liberation Army fighters have attacked a hotel in Oromia where reportedly some drone operators were staying. No coverage by Ethiopian news outlets, Oromia news outlets as well, but we received this exclusive information through a source. The attack did happen. Details for you. And lastly, Somaliland, self-declared country in the Horn of Africa. What is going to be the political scene in Somaliland in coming hours and days is very critical. Why? Because Muse Abdi's term expired today, though he was granted 2-year extension by Gurti, Somaliland's upper house of parliament, but opposition parties rejected that extension. So what will opposition parties do now? Firstly, TPLF, Tigray People Liberation Front, issued a statement last night. TPLF's Central Committee met and released this statement. TPLF says that, firstly, it supports the peace deal which was signed in Pretoria on the 2nd November and that it will ensure implementation of the agreement. But TPLF is raising questions about the language of the agreement. Agreement was signed between Tigray negotiators and Ethiopian federal government negotiators. But it was said that the agreement was signed between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government. And there was use of the term TPLF combatants in that agreement. TPLF says that it is a political party. No political party can have a militia, an armed group, an army. So TPLF cannot have any army. This is against Ethiopian constitution. Ethiopian constitution makes it mandatory that political parties cannot have news outlets, they cannot have armies. So the word used in the agreement, TPLF combatants, must be corrected. Tigray Defense Force was formed to protect the interests, to ensure the survival of the people of Tigray. TPLF had nothing to do with it. But TPLF respects the agreement signed in Pretoria, South Africa. The Central Committee further said that it did not nominate any members of the party to negotiate in South Africa. That is why the term TPLF combatants must not be used. Why did TPLF issue this statement? Gata Choreda is a member of TPLF. When the agreement was signed in South Africa, why didn't he object then? He should have raised these questions when he was in South Africa, and other leaders were there too from TPLF. They remained silent, and now they are raising this issue. Why? Because in coming days, TPLF will be removed from terrorist designation. Last year, TPLF was declared as a terrorist organization, OLA as well, by Ethiopian parliament. And now, according to the peace deal, in coming days, TPLF will be reinstated, you can say, as a political party. And political parties in Ethiopia cannot have any armies, any news outlets. That is why TPLF is distancing itself from TDF. That TDF and TPLF are two separate entities. Secondly, viewers, Oromo Liberation Army reportedly attacked hotel around 24 hours ago. Target was drone operators and technicians. In recent weeks and days, we have seen several drone strikes on Oromia. OLA was target. Civilians died as well in Chobi, in Metavalkaiti, in Vashcheva. Several drone strikes were conducted. Some civilians died, some OLA members were hit too. Jawar spoke, he lashed out at the government for indiscriminate use of airstrikes. He confirmed civilian killings. He said hundreds had been killed in drone strikes and airstrikes in Oromia. We know that in Oromia there is an Air Force base, Ethiopian Air Force base in Bishafto. Bishafto is between Adama and Addis Ababa. And when Ethiopia purchased its drones, most of these drone shipments arrived at Bishafto Air Base. And from Bishafto, they were then transported to other air bases, airports. Reportedly, in Bishafto city, a hotel was attacked by OLA fighters around 24 hours ago. Some drone technicians and operators were staying at the hotel. We have some names in terms of OLA commanders who were involved in the attack, but I won't disclose the names. Attack did happen in Bishafto at a hotel around 24 hours ago. Ethiopian media is silent. State media silent. Other Oromo news outlets are not reporting. But we have confirmed that attack in Oromia did happen. In southern Oromia as well, in Yirgalam, according to Sidama Liberation Army, SLA, it attacked a place where some drone technicians were staying. We don't have any verification about the claim made by Sidama Liberation Army, which works in collaboration with OLA, I think. But it confirmed an attack on some drone technicians in Yirgalam, southern Oromia. Reportedly, 2 days ago, OLA fighters tried to reach Bishafto air base as well. They tried to hit the air base, but they could not. And then yesterday, they carried out the attack. Details are sketchy. We don't have complete details in terms of casualties, in terms of losses. But only thing which is being confirmed by some sources is that OLA did try to hit drone operators, drone technicians in Bishafto. OLA will try to hit Bishafto Air Force Base as well, from where drones are flying. Drones are taking off from Bishafto and they are hitting targets in Oromia. But in western Oromia, I think drone strikes are not being conducted from Bishafto. Drone strikes on Valega or Vashcheva might have been conducted from Amhara or Bihi, though Bishafto is main base of Ethiopian Air Force. That is why maybe OLA tried to hit this Air Force base. Lastly, we are Somaliland, self-declared country in the Horn of Africa. What is going to be a political scene in Somaliland is a critical question. Why? Because Bihi Abdi's 5-year term has expired today. Though a few days ago he was granted 2-year extension by Somaliland's upper house Gurti. Opposition parties Wadani and UCID rejected Bihi Abdi's extension. Election Commission of Somaliland a few months ago said that it was not ready to conduct elections in Somaliland. Election was due to be held this year after the expiry of Bihi Abdi's term, but Election Commission said it was not fully prepared. It would take around 6 months, more than 6 months to make preparations. It means that elections cannot be held in Somaliland, though term of the president and parliament has expired. Opposition parties are questioning the intent of Bihi Abdi, that he was never interested in conducting elections on time. That is why he delayed elections, and now he has secured 2-year extension. Who delayed the election? Question is, who is responsible for the delay of the election? Election Commission, which did not, it should have made preparations in advance. It did not make preparations. Somaliland President or opposition parties? Opposition parties, Wadani UCID and ruling party, Kalmiye, they could not agree on some prerequisites for holding elections. Formation of election board, election commission was delayed. Registration of new political parties was a disputed issue between the government and the opposition. So this process of formation of election board, and which would have steered the country towards election, it was delayed. I think both parties are to blame, opposition parties and ruling party of Bihi Abdi. But where was election commission? It should have made preparations in advance. If its constitution, its formation was being delayed, it should have warned back then, a year ago or 8 or 9 months ago, that it wouldn't be able to hold elections on time. I think several players are involved in delaying the election. Bihi Abdi is the beneficiary of this delaying of elections. He was granted 2-year extension, though election commission said that it would need around 6 months to hold election, but Bihi Abdi has got 2-year extension. When in Somalia, Farmajo was granted extension last year, opposition parties protested, took to the streets, and militias loyal to opposition figures and government-backed forces and militias, they confronted each other in Mogadishu. There was fear of civil war in Somalia. Farmajo stepped back. Somalia's lower house of parliament withdrew extension given to Farmajo, and then election was held in May this year. Let's see. Will opposition parties try to start a street movement in Somaliland? Will this street movement have public backing? Several questions. Coming days crucial for political stability in Somaliland. Thank you for watching.